Prepare to be captivated by the business story of the week, hosted by me, Shaheen Shan. Join us on a journey through the twists and turns of entrepreneurial triumphs and setbacks. Immerse yourself in the narrative and witness the magic that turns dreams into reality. This is Business Story of the Week.
And we are back. Welcome once again to Business Story of the Week. I am your co-host Joshua, where we navigate the world of business, entrepreneurship, and innovations. Every day we uncover stories of perseverance, struggle, and success. And today we have ourselves a guest that is a visionary when it comes to innovations and in the all you listeners, you know me. I love the AI space, the tech space, and we're gonna get deep into that today with our guest Thomas Ryan, the CEO and founder of Bigly Sales. He is a visionary, transforming the sales landscape with AI innovation. With a background as a CEO of WorkBeast LLC and a board member at Barton and Associates, he led a 15,000% revenue growth, showcasing his knack for driving substantial business transformations. Leveraging this extensive experience in AI, data, and entrepreneurship, Thomas has made Bigly Sales synonymous with cutting edge AI sales automation. We're going to get deep into that today. Enhancing sales efficiency across the board. His journey reflects a dedication to leveraging technology, especially AI, to revolutionize sales process, making him a forward-thinking leader in tech today. Thomas, I am very, very excited for this episode. I am happy that you've joined us. How are you doing?
Joshua, what an intro. Thank you so much for having me.
That's fantastic. I would love to. I want to get deep into this. I'm very interested in the AI tech space. I'm by no means an expert. I'm not one of the brightest minds, but I try to keep up. So
It's
I would want to
impossible to
start.
keep up.
It's
It's
impossible
impossible.
to keep up.
There's
Impossible.
more apps coming out every day. There's more tools
Mhm.
coming out every day. There's changes every day. I mean, no one can keep up. Anyone who's
That's
telling you
true.
they are keeping up with everything is lying to you.
It's true. I want to. I'll get back into that. I'm noting that in right now because the apps. But first, before we get into that, I want to ask. I always start this with a question. With the start of the journey. Where did it all begin for Thomas Ryan? Could you share some moments of inspiration, early on in your life, maybe in your childhood, that led you to focus into sales and then focus into sales efficiency and using AI, and the founding of Bigly Sales. But where did it all begin? What is the
So,
humble beginning of Thomas Ryan?
so I can tell you, when I was working at a company back in about 2002 or 2003, I got pulled onto a
Hmm.
team that was looking at their CRM system.
Hmm.
And they were looking at what are the sales processes that are in place, what should those sales processes be, how should
Hmm.
this system work. And that was kind of my introduction. And
Hmm.
then I left that company. I went back to grad school. I got my MBA. And
Hmm.
while I was there, I had an idea for a web company, and I started building this business. And not having an engineering background, I struggled. So it took a couple of years to figure this out. I learned the agile methodology. I had, I can tell you
Hmm.
probably the best mentor I had for that. There was a guy named Obi Fernandez, and Obi wrote the Rails Way, and he was
Oh.
one of the guys who was very early on in the Ruby on Rails community,
Hmm.
and he kind of introduced me to the agile methodology of project management and
Hmm.
how to run a project. To build half a product well rather than a giant product and do it in half. And I
Right.
keep making the mistake over and over again, right? I think everyone does. They try to build too much, too
For
fast,
sure. Too
instead of
big.
just making it, just excellent. Um,
Hmm.
but I learned how to build a tech product really from him, and then we launched, and we took too long to launch, like everyone, and that product didn't work well. And
Hmm.
we had to pivot a little, and we went from about 20 grand in sales to 12 million in 18 months. And,
Wow.
so that was fun. And, then there's the good times and the hard times and,
Of course.
everything in between. But that was kind of my introduction. And
Mm-hmm.
after I left WorkBeast, I decided I wanted to build an all-encompassing CRM, and
Right.
it would handle calls, it would handle texts, it would handle emails, it would handle all of the reporting. So you would have everything in one place, and then no one really used the CRM that I built, but they all kept telling me what I want is leads and automation.
Mm-hmm.
So we took our platform that we built and we pivoted, and we kept seeing the problems with it. People wouldn't respond to things in a timely fashion. When they did
Mm-hmm.
respond, there would be, oftentimes they would have people doing this offshore, and the English would
Yeah.
be broken, and
Yeah. Uh-huh.
um, so the communication wasn't very effective. And
Yep.
we're looking at ways, how can we make this more effective? How can
Mm-hmm.
we fix all these issues? One, the lag in timing. Number two, not being compliant necessarily with rules and regulations in the U.S., like
Yeah.
the
Oh, yeah.
TCPA.
Mm-hmm.
Number three, to respond really very quickly, right? Because these
Yeah.
lags were just killing them, and the
For
quality of the
sure.
language was very poor.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So these were all the problems we were seeing, and then OpenAI
Mm-hmm.
came out with what they were doing, and I said, "This fixes it. This fixes every
This is
problem I'm
it.
having
Right.
at once
Mm-hmm.
with one tool in one fell swoop." And we went all in. So we
Fan.
were one of the first ones to, try to get that API. We got the API the second it came out of beta. We were part of the beta group for Claude when
Mm-hmm.
that came out, and we've just been building tools on there ever since. So we built our autoresponder that works for any email, for any text message,
Uh-huh.
for SMS for the fancy people,
Yeah.
uh,
Mm-hmm.
and we're working on getting the AI on phone calls. That product should be out in March.
Wow.
So we're
You pretty much
yeah,
answered the next question I was going to ask, which was what kind of impact this was going to make in sales efficiency and what separates it from, like all these CRMs right now. What were the biggest changes? I know you kind of explained this a little bit, but allow us to dig deeper into that. What were the biggest changes that you see that were transformed in the sales process or in the sales industry, so to speak, once you started implementing these AI efficiency? What was the biggest impact that you saw that
yeah. I mean, we're just
made?
starting to see these right now, right? Because
Hmm.
we launched the AI products last year, right? So
Hmm.
they've really only been on the market for a few months now.
Right.
So one, we can respond to anything instantly, right?
Yeah.
That the volume you can do with a handful of people is now through the roof. That if you have a large database and you're reaching out to hundreds of thousands of people, you can't respond to those people in a timely
Yeah.
fashion. Now
Absolutely.
you can, right?
Hmm.
And then to give it goals, right? To take anyone who's interested in what we're doing and automatically scheduling them into an appointment. To take
Hmm.
someone who's not interested in what we're doing and automatically unsubscribe them, right? Which
Yeah.
is probably even more important because you
Hmm.
need to be compliant with the TCPA, and they're changing all those rules. Next year, the TCPA changes are going to affect businesses so dramatically. It's going to be unbelievable.
Okay.
But yeah, the big efficiency is being able to take a mammoth amount of data and
Yeah.
to respond to everything, for all intents and purposes, instantly
Hmm.
within a couple of seconds,
Right.
versus having these long lag times. In sales, if you respond to people after an hour, your close rate drops
It's
90 to
dead. Yeah.
95%.
Hmm. Hmm.
Right. So
Wow.
if someone calls you and you respond, a lot of people think an hour or two. What's an hour or two mean? Right.
Yeah.
The guy called at 8. I got back to him at 10. That should be fine.
Yeah.
It isn't. It
It
isn't.
isn't.
It's going to destroy your close ratio. And a company that moves faster, if you think about it, you say you have a leak at your house, right, and water is
Yeah.
pouring in through the roof.
Hmm.
What happens if you don't get that person on the phone?
You wet everything. Everything goes to, you know, goes to
You
damage,
pick up
gets
the phone and you
damaged.
call the next guy. right? You
Oh, right,
call
right,
until you get the person who's going to come over. So the guy who
yeah,
waits an hour or two to call you back, they wait an hour or two to respond, you've already got someone booked to come over to your house and fix that problem,
right.
right? So
Mm-hmm.
anything that's immediate like that, you end up
Needs
missing
to
the
be
boat completely.
precisely.
Um, you also, when someone fills something out, they fill out a form, they do something online, they hit call, they're available right then and there.
Right.
You wait an hour, maybe they're out with their kids, maybe they're, at work, maybe they're like something else is going on and they
Yeah,
can't answer you. So the immediacy is so important uh, to to the close rate.
absolutely. And that thanks to AI, that immediacy is addressed right away. That's what happening. It's like you have these AI answering these inquiries right away
That's
at
it.
one of your call
So
offerings.
yeah, the AI responds instantly, and we can feed all this data into ChatGPT. So we can take all your company data, we can put everything into ChatGPT. We
Mm-hmm.
can, or Claude, because we use both of them. But we put all the data in, we put it into a vector database, we structure the data so it knows where to
Mm-hmm.
look for something that keeps the cost down, and it
Mm-hmm.
also makes it a little faster.
Mm-hmm.
And then it can feed back your data as the source of truth. It's not going to go
Mm-hmm.
off of something it read on the internet, or it's going to make
Yeah,
something up. It's going to
yeah.
be whatever you put in, that's what it's going to answer back with.
Mm-hmm.
So we,
That's
we just give it a little bit of structure on what stuff to answer back. If someone asks about a warranty, if someone asks about the products that are provided, if someone asks about, this, that, or the other thing, we can, company history, whatever, why you guys,
yeah.
what are your reviews like, right? We can, boom, get it out there immediately.
That makes that makes so much sense. Why it would increase efficiency, so quickly, so fast, because you address the immediacy right away. I love that because you know um why not use AI, right? Today is the advent of it, and we have these emerging techs and all these market trends that going with it. Given your extensive background, when it comes to AI, like we were talking about prior to this, like all the apps, right? You can't keep up with all the apps that are happening. And always there's this sense of like, what's going to be the killer app of AI? What's that one thing, right? But it feels like it's more of a web of all these different solutions. And you have came up with the AI sales solutions. But I guess the question I want to ask is that now that you've automated the sales process and you've automated all these things, um, how do you see this future of sales coming into this now? You said that data is still
I want
going
to
to
automate
be.
the whole call center. I want to automate all of it. I want to automate the
Wow.
entire call center. So if you think about calling AT&T or calling Comcast or calling one of those places, there was something I
Mm-hmm.
saw the other day. A lot of people would rather shave their head than actually sit on the phone with customer service for an hour, right?
Right.
And I might be right there with them. I might be getting the
Mm-hmm.
razor out soon if I had to talk to
Uh-huh,
customer
uh-huh,
service for an hour.
uh-huh.
So I want to fix all those problems. That you fix the waiting line problem. You get to, rather than waiting for a person and then them saying, "Oh, I'm
Mm-hmm.
sorry, I'm the wrong person. You got to get transferred to someone else. Please hold for another 15 minutes."
Wow.
Right? That you're there. It has all of your information. It can answer it
Mm-hmm.
instantly.
Mm-hmm.
It can fix the problem instantly. So I think it's going to replace level one support. I think it's going to replace all those terrible tools where, you
Mm-hmm.
put in something on chat. You're like, hey, I'm having an issue with doing this. And they're like, here's 4 articles that may or may not help you. Why don't you go
Yeah,
spend an hour
exactly.
reading
Oh,
them? Because I
oh
know your time
goodness.
isn't valuable.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I mean, it's going to replace that. It's going to replace, the entire call center experience, technical support. I mean, have you used ChatGPT for anything technical? Have you asked it
I
for
have.
some coding tips, or have you
Yep, for
are
sure.
trying having trouble doing something on your computer? It's unbelievable. Now,
It
I'm
is
not saying it's
unbelievable.
better than the top engineer out there who's a luminary
Mm-hmm.
in their field,
Mm-hmm.
but if you're not a coder who or an engineer who went to Stanford,
Mm-hmm.
it's phenomenal for
Phenomenal.
the what you can get out of this, right?
Mm-hmm.
It puts you on a
Precisely.
playing field that you're better than 99.9% of the people on earth for
Who
any
doesn't use it?
topic you can think of.
Yeah.
For any topic you
Yeah.
can think of.
That's
You
right.
know, and that's just ChatGPT.
Mm-hmm.
Um, where I see AI going is pretty easy over the next couple of years, because this isn't going to be 10, 20, 50 years down the road. This is the next couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
Anything you can do on the computer, AI will be able to do better, faster, and cheaper. Anything and everything. You're doing something
Wow.
with spreadsheets, you're doing something with accounting, you're doing something with graphic design,
Mm-hmm.
and they'll start linking these tools together where it will automate creating something, it will automate publishing something, it'll automate the refining things. It will,
Yep.
if you're thinking about ads, what ads working, which part of it are we
Mm-hmm.
losing people, right? You can look at the
Mm-hmm.
whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
Anything that people are doing right now and they're doing by hand, the AI
Mm-hmm.
is going to do better.
Mm-hmm.
Anything on a computer. I mean, just anything and everything. So that is all coming in the next couple of years. It's If you don't know how to use these tools, you're replaceable. As an
Precisely.
employee, if you don't know how to use the tools, you're going to be replaced by someone who knows how to use them.
Precisely.
It's as simple as that.
And that was like that's kind of a serendipity in my case because I just had a guest over previously and we were talking about the fear of AI, right? Instead of fearing it, you need to use it. You need to know how to use it as a tool or else it will replace you or rather you will be replaceable. I love how you said that if you don't know these tools. I wanted to ask though, in the sense of like replacing these level one support, replacing these voices, and of course, right now it's it will get better through time. Do you have a fear of sort of like a fear around the imperfection of it from early on, and that might affect adaptation? And I'm saying this because yeah, people don't want to be on support hours on end, but there's also a sort of an opinion going, that is normal that says we also don't want to talk to robots. I also don't want to talk to AI. Is there some sort of fear that if they know they're talking to AI, that the call's just going to fall apart?
Not at all. Not at all. I mean, I think this leads to the biggest productivity boom in human history.
Wow.
You say people would rather talk to a person. I would rather talk to the thing that gets it done, right? When I have a problem and
Right.
I had a question about something, I don't ask the
Mm-hmm.
guy sitting at the desk next to me. I ask Google,
Yeah.
right? I ask Google and Google gives
Yeah.
me an answer. I don't say,
Mm-hmm.
Jimmy, do you know the answer? Sally, do you know the answer? Right? I want to talk to a person instead of getting the answer from
Precisely.
Google. I want to get the right
Precisely.
answer. I want to get it done fast. I want to get it done
Mm-hmm.
right.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to talk to someone who doesn't know the answer and waste their time and waste my time, right?
Precisely.
So, is this going to cause some jobs? Initially, sure, but if you go back, particularly in Asia, right, this is going to
Mm-hmm.
affect a lot of folks in Asia. Um, if you go back to when the country was founded,
Yep.
90% of the people worked in agriculture. And if you were to tell
Mm-hmm.
them, hey, 200 years from now, only 10% of the people are working in agriculture, I'd say, oh my God, all those unemployed people, this is going to be terrible.
Yeah.
80% of the country is going to be unemployed, sitting around with
Yeah.
nothing to do, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's not what happened. What
Mm-hmm.
happened was people were able to do other things. It led to the
Yeah.
Industrial Revolution, which led to,
Mm-hmm.
the next revolution, the service, which led to the Computer Revolution, which
Yep.
these
Yep.
things all built upon one another because
Mm-hmm.
people could do more productive things because they didn't have to toil in the fields all day,
Yeah.
right? And then as the manufacturing advanced, they didn't have to toil in the factories all day.
Yeah.
If you want a company to look at, if you wanted one that I think could do something special, there's a company called Figure that is raising money from OpenAI and Microsoft right now.
Mm-hmm.
And
What do they do?
these they think they have AI robots, right? Like the
Wow.
iRobot sort of thing, except without them trying to take over the world at the end.
Yeah.
That they can do human type tasks, except without ever getting tired and, being much stronger and more durable. Um, so that's the one for me that is probably the most exciting that you were talking about. Because if they can crack that, that's a $1 trillion company many times over.
Wow.
That
Fantastic.
could be the most value. I mean, they're going to have one. It's going to be like your TVs, right? It would be like a rich family used to have one. Now there's one in every room, and
Everyone's
now
gonna have an AI
everyone carries
robot.
one in their pocket with their phone, right?
Fantastic.
Um, it's the next iPhone, except it's an iPhone that can wash the dishes for you and do the laundry and cook you dinner and go pick up the kids. And I mean,
That's amazing. That does sound like the next $1 trillion industry. It doesn't even sound like an exaggeration, given the progress that we've been looking at the past previous years and the next couple years that are coming. This is more of a kind of like a deeper look into this, or a deeper question, in the sense that, first I want to ask it how what are the core values and the principles that you've applied into Bigly sales? And I guess a deeper question that goes into that is that the the question of human replacement, or the question of ethical human, interaction, mainly dealing with sales. How do you think that goes together, and how do you think Bigly Sales can stay ahead of that?
so the ethical question. Obviously, we're going to want the AI to be persuasive, but
Yeah.
I don't know if you've dealt with salespeople before. Sometimes they lie. Sometimes they give you bad
Sometimes.
information, right? Sometimes they tell you something that just isn't flat out true. Sometimes they're supposed to follow up with you and you haven't heard from them for days,
Hmm.
right? So,
Yeah.
what you can do with the AI is you can make sure that it does everything the way it's supposed to. It does everything by the book. You can program it that way, right? You can
Hmm.
make it. We can program it to follow all the laws. We had to
Hmm.
throw a lot of people off our platform. We said there were some people we found weren't doing things by the book with the TCPA, and we said you got to
Hmm.
go.
Hmm.
And we changed our business model a little bit to make sure that we
Hmm.
were by the book and by to the letter of the law.
Yeah.
Because we kept finding people where they were claiming in our terms and conditions, they said they were going to follow all the TCPA guidelines, but we found out they weren't, right? So we
Well,
said, hey,
yeah.
guys, you got to go. Um, anyway, I think with AI, you can do a better job of this. You can
Yeah.
mandate it,
Yeah.
rather than telling someone, hey, you got to do this, Billy, and
Yeah.
if they don't do it, well, maybe you'll get in trouble or maybe you'll get fired. Well,
Yeah.
if there's a lot of money involved, people are going to lie, people are going to cheat, people are
That's
going
true.
to steal.
Hmm.
You can tell the AI this is what you have to say,
Yeah.
and it's going to say that.
Yeah.
So I think the AI is going to be hyper persuasive. By the way, I think it's going to be hyper persuasive within a couple of years, that we're going to be able to feed it all the data. So I was thinking about this thing. The other day they put an AI against a Top Gun pilot. And before they did this, I think this was in a simulator, but before they did this, they trained the AI for 100 years.
A
It
hundred
won every
years.
time. They
Wow.
did give it 100 years of training data, right?
Wow.
And they put it against one of the best pilots in the world, and it killed him. I mean, it beat him again and again and again and again and again.
Wow.
And they said, the person might win one out of every 1,000 times, or one out of every
Hmm.
10,000 times. They might get lucky,
Hmm.
but
Hmm.
the AI was just far superior because you could give it 100 years of sales data. So
Precisely.
we would take new sales reps, we would put them on the phone, and people
Hmm.
would freeze. They would be like deer in headlights,
For sure.
right?
For
We'd
sure.
have people go to lunch and never come back. You'd have people, you'd tell
Hmm.
them what to do. Here's the structure of a call. And they would
Hmm.
forget a piece. They wouldn't tell someone, why they were calling or who they were.
Hmm.
That was a fun one,
Hmm.
right? You know, um, they would say the wrong thing. They would make things
Yeah.
up. You know they didn't know the answer, so they would just make something up, right?
Yeah.
So you would see
Hmm.
all these problems over and over and over again, and
Hmm.
we had to do training after training after
Hmm.
training, and you would
Hmm.
have to repeat yourself 1,000
Over and over.
times,
Hmm.
right? And again, we're dealing with the average human. I'm not talking about this is the top person out of Stanford this year, right? We're dealing with the average guy on the street,
Yeah.
number 150 million in the United States,
Yeah.
right? And frankly, the level of work is not you're not getting the best and the brightest to work at call centers
Yeah.
generally. I mean, it's
Yeah.
not the top 0.1 of 0.1% from an intellect standpoint that is that is working there.
Yeah.
So trying to train is difficult.
Yeah.
Trying to get them to say the right things is difficult. A lot of
Yeah.
times people have to write it on the screen,
For
what to
sure.
say next, right? So
Hmm.
you don't have a robot do it. You come up with a script that you have a person read.
Yep. That's.
And
It
then
sounds like.
you talk to the I can't. I have to say this, or I'll get fired. So hold on. Let me just say the
Yeah.
rest of what I
Yeah.
have to say because I
Exactly.
have to say this exact thing.
Exactly.
So the AI is going to be, in comparison, we'll be
Hmm.
able to take millions of
Millions
conversations,
of yeah of
and we'll be able to
conversations.
train it on those millions of conversations. What worked, what didn't
Hmm.
work, what
Hmm.
goes off the rails.
Hmm.
What led to a sale, and we'll
Hmm.
be able to reinforce it and do reinforcement learning. I would
Hmm.
think the AI would, again, within a few years, be better than pretty much any sales rep on earth. I think it would
Wow.
be, just from a quality standpoint, because of how many reps you can get, just like against that Top Gun pilot. Once it's
Yep.
had 100 years of training, well, there's no sales rep on earth with 100 years of training. There's no
I
one on
agree.
earth, right? How about 1,000 years of training? How about 10,000 years of training data?
That's
So
incredible.
as it keeps refining and keeps working and being able to apply different areas to different things, it should be better than any individual that exists. So
They're
I think
really.
hyper persuasion is
Yeah,
certainly coming
persuasion.
with the sales things, and again, there's probably some ethical questions there,
Yeah.
where you want to make sure it's something that people need, right? That you don't
Hmm.
want to just sell
Hmm.
someone they
Yeah.
don't need.
Yeah.
But especially if we're starting with a form fill or something, an ad, because to be TCPA compliant, everything's going to have to start with inbound, right? They're going to
For
put
sure.
everyone through Google. They're going to put everyone through, some native ad platform, through Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, right? Everything's going to be starting pretty much from an ad somewhere
Yeah.
going forward,
Absolutely.
especially B2C.
Hmm.
Even with B2B, I think everything's going to be
Even with
starting with an
B2B.
ad soon.
For sure.
Um, but you're going to have to be TCPA compliant. So if a guy's calling me about a new roof, they're probably somewhat interested already.
Yeah.
They're
For
not
sure.
just calling me because they want to price out roofs today.
Hmm.
If they're calling about a product they saw online, I mean, there's some level of interest already.
Of course.
They probably have some sort of need for this. And then the AI, I think, will be hyper persuasive over time. Not that we're there yet,
Hmm.
but give it
Not
2 or
there
3
yet.
years, it's going to be better than a sales rep on earth.
And it's not going to make those mistakes that you were talking about because you're talking about.
Oh my God. And
Yeah.
people think that the bar is set so high. And when you're talking about the average person at the average company,
Hmm.
the bar is not very high. There's not a
That's
lot of
true.
people who are masters of their craft,
That's true.
right? In
Hmm.
anything, it's like if you look at computer science and you say,
Hmm.
okay, we're going to look at a bunch of engineers. And
Hmm.
out of all the engineers in the US, we're going to take the person who's dead middle of the pack.
Yeah.
How good is the quality of their work,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
They're probably
Yeah.
not working at Google, right? They're probably not working at
Yeah.
Facebook. I'm not talking about the average guy at Facebook. I'm talking about the
Yeah.
average guy in the entire US or the entire world who does this as a
Hmm.
trade. You know,
Hmm.
they're probably not that great. Um,
Absolutely. And
so
AI will answer that.
AI is going to be able to code better than, again, within a year or two. I think it's
Yeah.
going to code better than 99.9% of the
For
people
sure.
out there,
For
if it
sure.
isn't there already.
Hmm. And
If you look at Replit or something like that, Ghostwriter on Replit, or
hmm
if you look at the tools that are coming out of OpenAI, man, they're pretty
it's
good. If you're looking at
it is
Copilot,
fantastic.
if you're looking at, I
Yeah.
mean, the tools out there are pretty good for writing code.
That's
I
true.
know all the people on my team say they're twice as fast now as they used to be. A lot of the companies are saying that the junior engineers right out of school are as good as the people with 10 years of experience because
Hmm.
they're using these AI tools,
Yes.
right?
It's.
Someone wants to make a button or something. You want to make a green button and you're not a front end designer. you can put
Mm-hmm.
that into, one of the AI tools, and you throw it into ChatGPT or whatever, and
Yeah.
it'll spit out the code for a green button, and you don't have to fool around with it. Maybe you're not familiar with the language, right? Maybe you're not very
Yeah.
good with React, or you're not,
Yeah.
right? So give me a green button in React, and there it is.
Boom, done. There's it. And
Right.
that's what it's solving for, not just sales, right? In all the aspects of our life right now, and seemingly towards into the future as well. I like to highlight that a little bit, the whole ethical question, the sense that there are parts that where you can't trust humans to be responsible to put in what needs to be regulated, or what needs to be to follow the rules. But on the other side, you can train the AI to be absolutely compliant, and that gives a bit of optimism, a bit of hope on behind what the ethical implications might be when it comes to AI in sales. And of course, like you said, one of the bigger ones here is like, um they have to, like, it has to be something people need. And I think that's the biggest question right there. If we can get an AI to sell us something that we need for sure, then great. I feel like that's the first step, right? Because some of these corporations might be like controlling it all, and then they'd be like, no, just push everything, And I feel optimistic that there are leaders like you at the forefront, saying that voice and being that kind of like ethical voice, keeping your core values intact. I You pretty much answered the next question I was gonna I was gonna ask you, but let me just wrap it up with this question
Don't get
because
me
I
wrong. I'm
always
not. It's not that I'm not concerned about people using AI to do
yeah.
bad things. They will, but it's
Hmm.
going to be people using AI to do bad things. Just like
Yeah,
people can
that's
use a
true.
gun to do bad things, or a car to do bad things, or a
That's
plane to
true.
do bad things, or
Hmm. Hmm.
if someone. I mean, there's fraud out there on the internet.
That's true. That's true. But there's
So,
almost like a sense of hope, so to speak, like trusting that there's still some humanity in there, that we're gonna use it for good.
if
We
only
have
the
to.
bad people have the AI that they come out with, the viruses that they come out with, it will overrun the other systems. We're going to need AI
That's
to
true.
combat it. So,
Hmm.
we're fighting a war right now with this, and it's like both sides having nuclear weapons. If
Yeah,
the other side has them, you better have them too.
that's true.
So,
Wow, that's
I
a
mean,
that's a great
if the other
analogy.
side has AI, I mean, they're going to be able to just destroy our defenses if we don't
That's
have
true.
AI to defend against it.
That's true. That is a fantastic. That's a perfect segue to this wrap up question. And I always ask this, towards the end of the show, where like, what are your future aspirations? How are you seeing? You kind of answered this. How are you seeing it moving forward into the future? But personally, for you, what are your future aspirations? What are your advice for the tech entrepreneurs or AI entrepreneurs out there, drawing from your journey and your remarkable growth? What are the key pieces of your advice you would give to our audiences right now?
So, my aspirations are simple. I want to fix call centers. I want to get rid of all of the problems that people have with support in call centers today,
Mm-hmm.
and make everyone's life in America better,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Make your life a little bit better every day with every interaction that you have with a business that you have to deal with. Give you that time back that's being stolen from you right now, those hour or two every day or every week.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my goal, is to fix those problems that exist. As far as some advice, let me shout out a couple of companies. Number one, I'm going to say Podcast Cola because I love you guys. I mean, I think you
Yeah.
guys are literally probably the best service I've ever signed up for. I couldn't be happier.
Thank you.
I've been on more podcasts than I can shake a stick at. I mean, I have to turn them down. I'm getting so many. I said, guys, you're tying up my whole calendar. Please slow down. Right. With people, the first week I was using you guys, I think I got in front of 2 or 3 million viewers. So, I mean, just such a good service. It's crazy. Another company I
Fantastic.
love, Deal. So
Mm-hmm.
DEEL, right? I'm not
Mm-hmm.
affiliated with them. I don't get paid by them, but I do love them.
Mm-hmm.
Deal allows me to hire people offshore outside of the US and legally pay them in a legally compliant way with a couple of clicks. My team is spread all around the world. I'm hiring people out of places like IIT right now. I'm hosting coding competitions to get the best people with my technical stack in India. I couldn't do this without Deal. I would not be able to have this company today without Deal. You know, I wouldn't be able to get the caliber of talent that I need to build this business. And it's shocking to me that other big US companies aren't doing it. Use it to your advantage. Go and hire the best and brightest from around the world. You will be pleasantly surprised. So that's number two. And then, you know, there's other things like I think anything you need done, again, start using AI. Do it yourself. Have someone on your staff do it. Right. But these tools are ridiculously easy to use. You don't need to be an engineer. You don't need to be a genius. You don't need to be a mathematical whiz. Right. My 9-year-old daughter hates math, and she is using these things every day, and she is creating wonderful things with them. My team, you know, in India and Pakistan, they're writing beautiful articles with these things. Right. They speak English as a second language. The articles are written better than I could possibly write them. You know, so start using these tools. You can use them to do pretty much anything. Again, anything that a person is doing right now, put a person with that AI tool and they'll be 10 times as effective, maybe 100 times as effective for data cleansing, you know, data gathering, putting things into spreadsheets. I mean, you know, anything that you can really think of where you need a large amount of data or anything that you're doing on a computer. I mean, the AI will be able to do it quicker, faster, cheaper. And if you can't figure out how to do it, someone probably built a tool for it already.
Wow, fantastic. That is true. That is so accurate. I love how you edited it that way. But it's true. AI is the future. And it actually feels like we are here now. It is the future. We are.
Oh, it's now. This is today. This isn't.
For sure.
Hey, it's going to be like this, you know, in the year, you know, 2200. Right, you know, where there'll be flying cars and utopian cities. Like, no, this is right now.
Fantastic. Thomas, one last thing. I'd like to give you this opportunity. Where can we find you? Where can we connect with you? And anything else you would like the audience and our listeners to know?
Y'all, you can all find me at biglysales.com, BIGLYSALES, biglysales.com, and let's automate your sales process and make you all more money.
Fantastic. All right. Thomas, thank you so much for your time. And I'm for sure speak for in behalf of our audiences that we enjoyed your insights and we are looking forward to the future with Bigly Sales. Thank you so much, Thomas.
Joshua, thank you so much for having me. I had so much fun today. Great job. Great interview. You know, I'm so pumped to be here. Thank you.
Fantastic. See you in the future.
All right, so here's the thing. We try to get a little bit better every day, but we can't do it without you. So if you like the video, make sure to like and subscribe below. And if you have any comments, just leave them in the space under.